what is being termed as a major escalation. Just as the truce was being announced, Iran had fired fresh missiles at Israel, killing at least 4 people and injuring at least 22 others in Beersheba after the building was hit by an Iranian missile. Now, notably, this attack comes shortly after US President Donald Trump had announced a ceasefire between the two countries. Soon after, Netanyahu also declared that Israel and Iran had reached a comprehensive ceasefire agreement. Now, a total of 11 Iranian missiles were in fact fired in 5 waves at Israel through this morning. Meanwhile, Israeli military has also issued warning of incoming missiles from Iran, and a 6th alert was in fact issued since Trump announced the ceasefire. Meanwhile, Netanyahu has asked ministers to avoid making any sort of public statements. Well, we have with us Major General SVP Singh, who is a strategy and a defense expert. Major General, one thing that is in fact we see is that there is a truce in effect, but the truce is kind of a little tense, because what we understand is the Iranians wanted to be seen as in a place of strength, and they launched those missile strikes. But over here we see that the Israelis are not responded to it yet, and they are holding back. Probably this was the kind of some agreement that they came to, where they say that Iran does have a face-saving exercise.
Good afternoon, Verghese. Well, it's like this, that now it is being talked as a ceasefire, with the President of the United States having announced, and it appears that both sides have agreed to abide by the ceasefire, but that as it happens in war and in the battlefield, till the last minute, and sometimes it exceeds the time limit, the firing continues. So these missile launches, the waves which have been launched, 4 to 5 waves by Iran, and this early morning, a scientist of Iran having been killed, indicates the enmity between the two sides is all there to stay. Now, this is one point. We have to look at it, this conflict. Before that, I want to say, well, you know, uh, destruction does no good to anyone. It sees only death. So if any sort of ceasefire or truce comes, it's always good for humanity. Now, conflict initiation, conflict resolution, and conflict termination are the 3 factors which are there. Now, we know how the conflict has been initiated. It has all started with the Hamas in October 23, and there is no mention of a ceasefire or a truce between Hamas, Hezbollah, and Israel in this. It is only talked about Israel and Iran. This is one moot point we have to know. Now, it is definitely a conflict resolution stage after America has launched those B-2 bombers and the bunker busting bombs, and the damage
We have to
assessment.
just stop here that we have some breaking news that's coming in. Ballistic missile attack launched from Iran targeting Israel. As we speak, probably the truth should hold. We have news coming in that ballistic missiles have been launched from Iran. Attack comes hours after the truce was said to be in place. IDF defensive systems are operating to intercept the threat. This is the big news that we are tracking at the moment. Ballistic missile attack has been launched from Iran against Israel. Attack comes hours after the ceasefire announcement is what we understand. IDF says that defensive systems are operating to intercept the threat. Ballistic missiles, in fact, being launched from Iran, targeting Israel again. Major General, we were just speaking about, probably it has not reached the systems, the defense systems within Iran, but this looks like a clear violation, because the media in Iran did come out and say the ceasefire was in effect, and then after that also you have this launch coming in. So clearly, is this truce holding on, or is it that Iran is playing hardball?
Well, Verghese, it is the fog of war. The words have just been snatched when you give this breaking news. And yes, you see, there's a great deal of doubt in each other's sides' minds. And who will now actually show the white flag that yes, ceasefire is on? In fact, both sides should be raising the white flags. That is what ceasefire means. We are now also saying pause, but the right word which has emerged is ceasefire. Definitely, it implies pause. So let us see whether in the better half of the day, this can sustain. This can sustain. Now, because this is the fog of war, and we should give some element of advantage or benefit to the warring parties. There have been some leaks in the dissemination of orders. But yes, we are at the stage of conflict resolution, as I was mentioning. But there's a bigger step ahead, and that is conflict termination. And how will that take place is again a big question mark, because this region has always been sitting on a tinderbox, and that will not cease even with this ceasefire. Now we have to see, okay, what are the aims which were set out by Israel, the military objectives, have they been achieved? Because that's what must have brought about the Israel agreeing to a ceasefire. So the aim in the case of Iran was definitely the reduction of their nuclear sites and capabilities. And in turn, it also has turned out to be reduction in their war-making machinery. So I think that also has been achieved, because Iran would have definitely gone down by about 35 to 40% of their military capacities. Not to talk of the capabilities, because in capability they are definitely not up to where Israel is. Now, that be what it is, has US strikes achieved its aim 100%? We have to see what the damage assessment report is there. At the moment, it has not been fully revealed. The satellite pictures are showing it is there. But IAEA has to come out if the Fordo and other two sites have been reduced, disseminated, then there should have been some leak of radioactive and radiation happening. I mean, it's a normal course. Particularly, we can say, okay, 90 meters down, Fordo, perhaps radiation still has not surfaced, but I think there's adequate time gone by. But what about Natanz? So this is one thing which time will tell us, as per my assessment. And I was expecting that the IAEA, they were supposed to be in Iran yesterday. They might come today to give their assessment, and that will give us a formal report. I would take it like that. Now, uh, now other thing is in this.
Major, we have also have with us Adit Kothari, who's foreign affairs expert. I'll just go to him and I'll come to you. I have one more question to ask the Major General as well. But I'll just go to Adit Kothari, who joins us, who's foreign affairs expert. Adit Kothari, how do you see the West Asian region right now? I mean, we are talking about truce, but there is sporadic missile attacks that are happening do you think that in this particular situation, Iran cannot afford to look weak? Of course, it has had the beating that he had to take. Its proxies have also taken the beating, Hezbollah, Hamas, and to an extent even the Houthis. They've taken a beating in this war. So it has to still show that it is quite strong in the region. And interestingly enough, the ballistic missile capability that Iran has in fact displayed is going to be quite weary when it comes to the Sunni states surrounding it.
Absolutely, Varghese. I think you've hit the nail on the head. You've got to bear in mind that the regime that is currently in place in Iran is an unelected regime. So the only way that they can continue to hold on to power is by demonstrating, sign of strength. The fact that they are coming on strong and they are able to take on the enemy with comprehensive intent. So that is very important from a domestic messaging perspective, which is what Iran is basically doing from a posturing angle. The interesting part is that the ceasefire gave Iran, approximately a 12-hour window, and the Israelis about a 24-hour window to curtail down any sort of strikes, and that is what Iran is basically taking the advantage of. They're basically trying to hit Israel wherever they can and in whatever shape and form they can to ensure that they can demonstrate some amount of strength, some amount of face-saving approach before the formal de-escalation begins, which is why there is a bit of contradiction even within the Iranian media and also what the Iranian foreign minister himself is saying. The foreign minister has come out to say that there is no formal ceasefire that we've agreed to, and we will see how things play out in the next 12 to 24 hours. So that is the official messaging from the Iranian side. Varghese.
All right. And also at the same time, we have seen the big issue with, I mean, Iran having that geographical advantage. They can easily go and, block Hormuz. The parliament has given that permission, but, it'll be taken by the Security Council there in that country, whether they have to go for it or not. But even this ability to go ahead and, block the Strait of Hormuz, that is also a worrying aspect, isn't it? Because that could, in fact, lead to complete chaos around with regard to the oil markets, and at the same time, most of those who are reliant on that oil exports, which surrounds Israel, which surrounds Iran, they are also probably wondering what would be the next step if this war had continued, and therefore there is a lot of back channel diplomacy happening only from their front, because Vance was indirectly in touch with the Iranian leadership through Qatar. So it looks like it is more of back channel or what we call behind the curtain. Diplomacy that some of these Sunni states are carrying out. They want the war to end because they don't want their oil exports to be affected.
True. I think the way everything is panned out from Donald Trump's tweet to what Israel has said and then what Iran has said, it demonstrates that there has been back channel discussions, which has actually led to how Iran basically attacked the US air bases, notifying the United States, giving them enough time to ensure that they were able to sort of fend them off, peel them off, and basically demonstrating that yes, we are de-escalating now. We are on the plank where we want this to end and we want things to go back to some sort of a reset. Iran's capabilities, as Major General Singh has just pointed out, has been diminished substantially. Indications are between 35 to 40%. Their defense mechanisms, their defense systems are completely dismantled. Their airstriking abilities have been completely dismantled. So, from a deterrence perspective, the Israeli and the United States